What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the House Hacking Mom, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my oatmeal bake recipe. This was actually a video request from one of my subscribers, so thank you for that request. And I'm just going to show y'all really quick how I make it. It makes a good size 9x13. You can split this recipe in half and make it in just a 9x9 or an 8x8. The version that I'm going to make in front of you today is a pear version, but I'm also going to tell you how to make a apple and cinnamon style if you would like, and you really can use this method of oatmeal bake to use any sort of fruit that you like. So I really hope you guys enjoy. Please make sure you go down and hit the like and subscribe button if you've not already, and let's go ahead and jump into this video. All right, so to start off the recipe, I'm just going to show you real quick what you're going to need to make this. So I have 5 cups of oats in here. We're going to use 2 cups of milk, 1 1/4 cups of water. We're going to use 3 eggs and 1 yolk, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of lemon zest. So I'm just going to zest this whole lemon. I don't ever measure. 1 teaspoon of salt, and then this is 3 pears that I have halved and cut the cores out of. And then we're going to mix that with some of this brown sugar and vanilla. So that's going to be in the bottom of this dish along with some butter. This is 3 tablespoons of butter, how all good recipes start. And the way this oatmeal bake works is the fruit and the butter and the sugar is all on the bottom, and then the oatmeal and milk mixture is on the top. And then when you cut your slices, you flip them over, and it has almost it's a very rustic version of like a tart tartan sort of dish. When you flip it over, the sugar and fruit topping is going to then be on the top, and it is so delicious. So to start off this recipe, I'm going to put this 9x13 dish with 3 tablespoons of butter into my oven, and I'm going to preheat my oven to 400 degrees. Right now my oven's cold. I'm going to put this dish in and then preheat it to 400 degrees, and that's just going to get this butter melting for me. All right, so we've got that dish in the oven. So now I'm just going to move some of this other stuff aside, and we are going to work first on our sugar mixture. So for the sugar mixture, I've just got a small little bowl here, and I'm going to measure out, guesstimate, about a 1/2 cup. If you want it sweeter, you can use 3/4 cup. But I find that 1/2 cup, 2/3 cup is plenty. You don't really need to use the full 3/4 cup, which is the original recipe. So I'm just sort of packing this sort of down. So, you know, that's roughly about 1/2 cup. You just want it to be enough to be able to sprinkle over the entire bottom of the dish. And then we need 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Now you will notice here, I know it's terrible, I use imitation vanilla. I do not use real vanilla, especially for a dish like this, because I just don't think it's worth it. But you can use real vanilla, good vanilla, if you have it, for sure, and I'm sure it'll make it taste even better. Now you also notice I'm using brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, you can totally substitute white sugar, turbinado sugar, coconut sugar, whatever you have on hand, it's going to be fine. The reason I started using brown sugar is because it just added a really nice kind of wintry situation that I really, really liked. So that's that mixed together. I'm going to set that aside. So here we've got our 5 cups of oats, 2 cups of whole milk. I have also done half whole milk and half yogurt, Greek yogurt, regular plain yogurt, and it is good. It does obviously add a little bit more protein, but it's going to be a lot more sour that way. So just kind of have to balance your preferences there. Now to add my eggs, I'm just going to mix them in this measuring cup first, just to make it a little bit easier. So we're doing 3 eggs and 1 yolk. Now you may have noticed here that I am using extra large eggs, which I don't normally for this recipe. You only need large eggs. But I just decided to pick up extra large eggs at the grocery store because I noticed that they were only like 3 cents more or something crazy for 18 if you bought 18. So I just decided to give the extra large eggs a try. I doubt it'll alter the recipe that much. So I'm just going to take a fork, whisk whatever you have, whisk it up. And that's just going to make mixing this all together that much easier. Now we can add our baking powder. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. It's always nice to make sure your baking powder is fresh. If you don't do a lot of baking and you go through it slowly, it does lose its effectiveness. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then we need the lemon zest. Now you might think this is a little unusual, the lemon with the pears, but it's actually super good and kind of gives it a very fresh morning, zesty sort of flavor. So I really like it. If you really don't like lemon or something like that, you can certainly leave it out, but I think it adds a really nice, almost gourmet type flavor to this dish. It smells so good. Like fresh, vanilla-y, sugary, lemony, all the yummy stuff going on. So now you can see I'm pulling this out of the oven. Our butter has melted nicely. So now it smells even better in here. I'm gonna kind of push that out of the way. So now I've got these pears here. I'm sorry, they're already starting to turn brown because I did it a couple minutes ago. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can put them in like this and then kind of spoon the sugar mixture on top. That's really yummy. And then put the oatmeal on top. Whoop! And if you do it that way, then when you turn a slice over, the rounded side is what's going to be exposed in the slice. So just like a tart tartan, you put it in the pan this way, and then when you turn it out, this is what's going to be exposed. What I'm actually going to do, because I've got really little kids, I find it so much easier for them eating it if I just go ahead and slice it now. So what I will do really quick though is go ahead and put in this sugar mixture. Like I said, you can either put the pears directly on the butter and then kind of spoon this into those cavities that you make when you core your pears or your apple slices, if you want to do it that way. But to me, this way is the most easy for small little people to eat it afterwards, which for me is literally the whole point. The whole goal of this dish is for it to be easy for little kids. So I am just going to start placing the sliced pears down. And I'm just going to do that on fast speed so you guys don't get too terribly bored. Now, note to self, if you have really large pears or really large apples, you might be able to do just 2. I find that if you really love the fruit component of the dish, 3 is kind of a safer number. But, if you've got a really big apple, you definitely only need 2 of these. All right, so then the last thing you're going to do before you put on the topping, then you're just going to take your lemon, roll it a little bit, kind of loosen up the juices, and just spritz it over just a little bit. And I just cut off the nub, just a very small amount. It helps the seeds not come out with it. It's not always perfect, but it does a fairly good job of not letting the seeds come out. And this just adds to the brightness and the yumminess of this dish. All right, that's good there. Okay. This one last stir. Add to the top. And now this is going to bake at 400 degrees. Our oven's already preheated for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it down to 350 degrees and bake it for 25 to 35 minutes more, just until it looks nice, baked, and set. If you're nervous about it, just go ahead and bake it for 30 minutes. It's better for this to be overbaked than underbaked because you don't want the oats to feel raw. And while that oatmeal bake is in the oven, I'm just really quick going to share with you how you would make the apple cinnamon version of this recipe. You are going to follow basically the exact same method, except you're going to leave out the lemon zest and the lemon juice. You could do a little bit of lemon juice if you wanted to, just to help maintain the bright color of the apples. But the flavor profile with the lemons and the apples, I don't love it. You could try it if you like, but it's not my favorite. So what I do is I just omit the lemon altogether. And then I do pretty much the exact same thing for the topping, except I slice the apples very thinly as if you're going to put them in an apple pie. And then as soon as the butter is melted in the pan, I take that out. I put the apple slices and the sugar down just like I do with the pears. And then I put it back in the oven for 5 or 10 minutes, however long I have to spare. You know, a lot of these things are just sort of however long you have is what you do. But kind of pre-baking the apples a little bit that way helps them to not be so crunchy when you eat it. If you had even longer and you wanted to make it super beautiful, you could take your 3 apples, you know, slice them in half, core them just like we did with the pears, and it would be very similar to a tart tartan, but you would want to pre-bake them for probably more like 20 minutes before you put the oatmeal mixture around and on top of the apples. And then of course you could add some pumpkin pie spice or just a little bit of cinnamon into the oatmeal mixture itself if you liked. I usually don't even do that, just the apples and the brown sugar together work beautifully. And then maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top when I serve it. Here is the finished product, guys. I just went ahead and cut a slice just so you could see. And when I flip it over, you can see that beautiful pear and sugar topping. It does remind me of our tart tartan, so I do love that. Please make sure you guys give this a try. It is delicious. Let me know in the comments below if you do, and if you do any variations. I would love to know. I'm always looking for new ideas in the kitchen. Please make sure y'all hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I make new videos like this every week about frugal living, healthy eating, and minimalist parenting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.